inside the crust of the earth, there was water. That's the water that came shooting to the surface when the fountains of the deep broke open. By the way, there is still lots of water in the crust of the earth. Otherwise, you could not have hot water vents shooting up into the bottom of the ocean. If you have hot water squirting up into the bottom of the ocean, where does it have to be coming from? Lower than that, doesn't it? Still huge hot water vents in the bottom of the ocean. I think some of that water is still coming out. We cover more on that in the hydroplate theory on video 6. But I think the earth today still has cracks where it broke open at the time of the flood. I taught earth science for years. The earth is broken up into plates. There's no question. I've been to the San Andreas Fault, the Hayward Fault, the New Madrid Fault, the Golden Fault. There's no question. There are cracks in the earth's crust. And when they move around, buildings fall down, called earthquakes, okay, or tsunamis happen from the underwater landslides and turbidity currents. There's no question the earth is broken up, and there's no question the plates are still moving. The question is, when did all this happen? Now, the evolutionists will tell you this happened over millions and millions of years. The creationist says, no, all this catastrophe probably started at the time of that flood, when the fountains of the deep broke open. That's what caused the fault line. And the water went shooting to the surface, and it's still here today. I was debating an atheist one time, and during Q&A time, a student stood up and said, Hovind, where'd all the water from the flood go? I said, oh, it's still here. I said, the oceans are huge. There's enough water in the oceans, if you smoothed out the earth, it would cover the earth 1.5 miles deep everywhere. I flew back over to the Pacific from Australia, and I told one of the guys in the office, I said, man, that Pacific Ocean is huge. He said, oh, that's just the top of it. What thought? These hot water vents are proof there's water in the crust of the earth still squirting up. Probably most of it's gone now, it's on the surface. This canopy of water that used to be there in the original creation would make the whole earth. Scientists are still finding lots of water in space between the stars. There's lots of water out in space. Cover more on that later. And they've got a new theory now that says maybe a lack of oxygen killed the dinosaurs. A lack of oxygen. Why would they say that? Well, they had a big symposium in 1993. A bunch of scientists got together to study the Apatosaurus. And they said, folks, we've got a problem. An 80-foot Apatosaurus had nostrils the same size as a horse. 8-foot animal going to get enough air through nostrils the same size as a horse. He'd be sucking so hard trying to get a breath. Instead of on fire from the friction from the wind whistling in there, they couldn't breathe. Well, apparently they did breathe because bones of dinosaurs are found all over the planet. Even in Antarctica and Alaska. I mean, dinosaurs lived everywhere, okay? So how could an 80-foot animal get enough air? Well, today, he probably couldn't. Not to get 80 feet long. But I think before the flood came, they had this canopy of air or water or ice that would increase air pressure. Plus, they had richer oxygen. You know, when they drill into the amber, how many saw the movie Jurassic Park? You know, when they drill in to get the mosquito blood out. Sometimes in amber, which is petrified tree sap, they find air bubbles in the amber. When they analyze the air bubbles, they find out they're 50% more oxygen than we have today. Today we're breathing 21% oxygen. Amber bubbles have 32% oxygen. Did you know if you lived in a world with double the air pressure and 50% more oxygen, just breathing would be exciting? Adam would go, wow. That was fun. Hey, Eve, let's do that again. Ready, go. The earth had more oxygen in the past than it does now. Now, your kids are going to be told